17 years old, I laid down and went to sleep. And while I was sleeping, I dreamed I was reading a verse that I didn't know existed at the time. God was saying to a young man, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, or I ordained thee, and I sanctified thee to be a prophet to the nations. And when I woke that morning, I just took my Bible with childlike faith and just let it fall open. And it fell open on Jeremiah. And he said, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And I ordained thee, and I sanctified thee to be a prophet unto the nations. And all of a sudden, I remembered all the stories my mother told me about when I was born. I was born with a veil over my face, and one of the neighbors came down and said, look, the Lord has given you a prophet. And Mama said, a prophet? She said, yeah, he has a veil over his face. Thin membrane born over some babies' faces. I was one of them. That membrane, the old folks said, was a sign you were a prophet, but I didn't know I was a prophet, so I was a wild, crazy, foolish, ignorant, rambunctious kid who got into everything and anything all the time, driving people crazy. And I was having a good time doing my own thing until God came along and messed it all up by bringing this stuff again about me being a preacher. And I ran from my calling. I purposely got drunk and went wild and got high and partied and did everything I could to convince him to go away. Get one of them people with the little doilies on their head and the long skirts on and the no makeup who pray all day and talk in tongues all the time and leave me alone, because I am not one of them. I'm crazy, I'm ignorant, I'm wild, I'm uncouth, I will embarrass you, I will disgrace you. Please don't call me. This is not gonna be good for you and it's not gonna be good for me, and we should not do this together. But God didn't ask me to vote. He asked me to obey. And after several years of running, and after several years of going in clubs and sitting on bar stools where one drunk would lean over to me and say, funny man, I had the craziest dream about you. I dreamed you was preaching in this church, and I got up and ran out of the club. And I felt like David, if I make my bed in hell, thou art there. And if I take the wings of the morning and ascend to the uttermost parts of the earth, thou art there. And I'm not going to be able to outrun this. And I couldn't understand that God wouldn't let me go. I couldn't understand why God picked me. If I get to heaven and we're only allowed one question apiece, I simply want to know, why did you call me? A boy from the hills of West Virginia, the son of a janitor and a school teacher. Why did you call me? And I had lots of excuses. Like Moses, I had a speech impediment. You can't call me. You can't call me. I didn't stutter, but I had a lisp. I can't be a speaker because I have a lisp. But all of us have areas where we feel inadequate. And if you don't, you're disqualified. Because humility is framed from feeling inadequate. When you say, I am not enough, it makes you pray harder. It makes you seek harder. It makes you ask for more grace. Beware of all the people who tell you they are enough. It's a sure sign that you're dealing with a fraud. Because the questions the world is asking are too complicated for you to answer with a degree. The problems people are having now require divine intervention. And you have to have somebody who has heard from God, not from themselves. So it doesn't matter. In my weakness, he's made strong. In my weakness, his strength is validated. So he chooses fragile, broken, limited people so you won't be confused where the ointment comes from. You know that the glory that we have is not of ourselves, but Christ Jesus the Lord that has given us the glory. And it's him coming out of us. It's not our talent coming out of it. It's not our skill coming out of it. It is him coming out, both to do and to will, according to his own good pleasure. That's the facts. And what makes God all the more real is recognizing that he can work with such poor material. That he can be so masterful as Michelangelo to paint the Sistine Chapel with a broken brush. And I am the brush. And you are the brush, and you are the brush, and you are the brush. And he chooses broken brushes so that there will be no glory to the brush, only to the artist. When the master vintner, plans to transplant you, arguing will not stop it. He will not let you go until he's moved you to the place that he has prepared for you and you for it. And placing you in that place, you begin to grow. And you will know you're in the place when, like Joseph, your branches reach over walls. When God plants you, your branches reach over every denominational, racial, generational wall that ever stood. And I believe he wanted you to hear this at this moment.